Allies, enemies, and those yet unaligned, howdy and welcome to yet another episode of Metamour Than You Bargained for. I am your host, Lyn Lawless. For those just joining us today, this is yet another podcast where someone in a position of privilege shares their limited perspective on the issues of people completely outside of my life. It's great. You should try it sometime. What really makes us different, though, from all those other podcasts reading stories online is that we're going to be viewing everything through the lens of non-monogamy. Yeah, everything. My co-hosts will be everyone from those 70-year-olds that have been swinging since the 70s to Gen Zers who are just trying to figure out how to have a threesome that doesn't suck. On the mic today, we have one of my best fucking friends, T. This might be one of those really messy episodes, just so y'all know. We're going to be chatty.
Hiya.
But go ahead and tell us about yourself. Go ahead. I'm going to stop now.
Well, my name is T. Hollow. Some people will know me through my photographic adventures as Octophoto. I have been polyamorous for about 9 years, close to 10. Non-monogamous in some form since about 2009. And I'm still having fun doing it.
I love that you have gone through all of the different paths. You're polyamorous, you're non-monogamous. So what really set the difference in those two stages for you?
Well, the non-monogamous thing in the beginning, I was married and we decided to open things up. And we had a lot of rules that were related to insecurity. So we were basically swingers, and there was a lot of fear when it came to catching feelings, right? Like people like to say.
Yeah.
So, polyamory was not on the table. But I came to realize pretty quickly that I actually like to value people. So it was important to me to develop real relationships, even if it's just a friendship with the people that I was involved with. And that just kind of naturally led to polyamory.
You also just have a real big heart and can't stop yourself from being
Oh.
that one's a good one. Let me just pinch their nipple real quick.
Well, I can't deny it.
Oh, God. You were one of the first people that welcomed me into this local community with very, wide open arms.
And pinching nipples.
But, you offered. You offered. You were like, hey, want a nipple pinch? And I was like, not yet, but maybe later. Maybe later. And it was fucking great. You were one of the first people that I remember genuinely looking forward to potentially seeing when I would be convincing myself to go out to events.
Oh. It was always a pleasure to see you. And still is.
Okay, let me pull us away and go into the world of the internet.
Let's do it.
Meta. Okay, so this first story is going to be coming from Best of Redditor Updates. So we know that it has an interesting, good ending, and there's an update. So already going to start off on a good foot here. Yeah, despite the title. Hold on through the title.
Yes.
Started swinging to save our marriage. 3 years later, and I am miserable.
Oh, this ought to be good.
All right. My wife, 35F, and I, 33M, have been together for 10 years and have 5 kids together. Busy.
Uh-huh.
We started out as a strictly monogamous relationship, but as time went on, she made passing comments indicating she would be interested in an open relationship and each of us having the freedom to play with others. In hindsight, I don't think I realized how serious she was about wanting to do that. About 3 years ago, I noticed she began showing some telltale signs that something was going on. Always putting her phone facing down, turning away from me when texting, etc.
Mm-hmm.
We know it. We all seen it.
Oh, yes.
Long story short, there was a guy at work that she was hardcore flirting with, and she was trying to hide it. She had even saved his contact in her phone under a different name,
Scandalous.
hoping I wouldn't notice. Hi, Domino's. Let me get some of the D. I knew something was up, and I called her out on it, and she came clean, but insisted it was just flirting and nothing had ever happened, which I believed her on.
Okay.
A few weeks later, she wrote me telling me she was leaving me. Woo! Not because of this guy specifically, but because she was worried she would cheat on me eventually, as she had always desired variety. She assured me it had nothing to do with me or enjoying sex with me. We still had amazing sex quite often. We'll brag about it in a little bit, okay?
We know.
For her, it made sense to end the marriage instead of hurting me over and over by cheating. I respected her approach at this point, as she obviously did care enough to tell me her true feelings. This woman is the love of my life and the mother of my children, and I really wanted to save our marriage. On a whim, I suggested an open marriage, as long as we could agree on a set of rules and stayed completely honest with each other. She agreed, and we tore the letter up. Which letter was it? What fucking letter? What?
The letter saying she was leaving, I believe.
Damn, she wrote. Oh, she wrote a letter. I was like, damn, she wrote a letter saying she was leaving you. Damn, dude. Okay.
Serious.
They tore the letter up. Okay, sorry. Got it. In my mind, it's not what I wanted, but I thought we should at least give it a shot. After writing down the rules that we agreed on, see below, we started going to a few swinger parties and we went on a couple of dates with other couples. We eventually decided we would both like it better if we had our own playthings and separately played from each other, as in not in the same room. She would go out with a friend one night, I might go out another night, etc. Initially, it was just her going out, but I could tell it was starting to bother her that I wasn't doing the same, so I made a couple of friends with benefits. During all of this, I was secretly hoping that she would have a few experiences, realize in the end she just wants me, but that wasn't the case. Also, I found on the few times I would go out with my friends with benefits, I wasn't really enjoying myself. Shortly after this, I decided I was going to stop swinging, and it would just be something she could do. That is monopoly. Monopoly can work. Like,
it can.
It's hard, but it can.
Yeah.
The monopoly. So, okay, here's the rules that they agreed upon together. No sleeping over. Honesty. Each partner would know ahead of time if there were plans to play with someone else. Just sex, not looking for polyamorous relationships. Must use protection. No clarification what the protection is, though. We take care of each other's needs before our friends, meaning we shouldn't be playing with our friends more than playing with each other. You know, couples privilege, it happens, whatever works for them, you know, as long as they're discussing it with the people, right?
Reminds me a bit of my first open relationship situation, honestly.
Yeah, did y'all have similar rules?
Oh, yeah, and more.
Okay, okay, at the end, let's talk about your rules, because I'm excited to hear those. Because I don't think I've ever heard y'all's rules, and I can... You know, I'm going to say I didn't start polyamory from the best place either, so I can share my rules when I first started this. But now 3 years later, we've gone through several long periods of time where she has no desire to swing. Those times have been great while they lasted, but as of a few weeks ago, she found a new friend with benefits. They're actually together right now in our home, but the kids are at school. I'm sitting here at work trying to figure out how I can keep doing this. I want her to be happy, but I want to be happy too. To my wife's credit, during this whole time, she was super open with me. Anytime she found a new friend, she told me right away. She would tell me up front if she was trying to make plans to play. I was also very open with her about my feelings through all of this. I just wasn't enjoying it like I thought I would. I was having some jealousy issues, especially during the time that they were together and I was sitting at home with my thoughts or at work with my thoughts like I am right now. We talked multiple times about this and it just came back to her wanting to do this and to be happy. I know that if I demand she stops, she's just going to leave again. I'm not sure what the best path is at this point. As I mentioned above, we do have an open line of communication about everything. She's just not willing to give it up. I want to be happy. I don't want to lose her, but for both of our sakes and for the sake of the kids, looking for some suggestions. I can't continue to sit here and cry at work like a dope.
Oh.
Bro, same. Fucking felt that. Oh, God, I hate crying at work. That's the worst place to cry. Unless you got a walk-in freezer, then it's kind of the best.
Don't get stuck.
Don't get stuck. So, do you want to talk before we get into the update or after?
You know what? This relationship, their whole situation feels familiar to me.
Yeah.
Because like I told you, you know, I was married and we decided to open up, try the whole non-monogamy thing. And what I'm seeing, and the reason this feels familiar, she seems to be very much a non-monogamous person. Mm-hmm. Like that it seems to be part of her identity and she's really comfortable with that. And he's not. And that's how it was for me and my now ex-wife. I was very comfortable being non-monogamous. I accepted that identity, and she struggled with it a lot. And that honestly is a big reason why we had some of those rules we talked about to, I guess, create a safe landing space when insecurities came up. So I'll tell you one of the rules, which now seems absolutely ridiculous. But at the time, I was doing whatever it was that felt necessary to maintain happiness in my home.
Yeah.
Much like what this guy's talking about.
Just trying to keep the peace.
Yeah. So we had a rule that whenever one of us was out on a date or whatever, the other person could call for any reason and say, I need you here. And when that happened, you just had to go.
Damn.
Drop what you're doing, pull your pants up, and go home. And it didn't happen often, but it did happen. And, that's what I did. I collected my things and I went home. But, those are the things you do, right, when you're trying to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
you were the wife in this situation.
Pretty much.
Just, both of them are kind of just trying to make it work, but like not willing to compromise their identities, which fuck yeah for both of them. Like polyamory, non-monogamy in all its flavors isn't for everyone. I know there's a lot of people who have like the gold standard of like polyamory is the most ethical and moral choice. Like, sure, okay, but that doesn't mean it's good for everyone.
Yeah. I will say one difference between my relationship and this, we were not opening up in an attempt to save the marriage.
Yeah.
I think that is rarely ever the answer. That is the one big misstep that I see in this whole thing. If this guy could have been a little more honest with himself about his needs, then maybe he wouldn't have ended up in that situation.
Yeah, like a part of me wishes they would have called it a while back, like with that letter, first coming. Like maybe that should have been the end. Like that should have been the point. Like, okay, let's amicably separate and do our own things and co-parent.
Yeah.
But they got 5 kids.
5 kids, that's a lot.
That's a lot to co-parent.
That's work. That's a lot when you're together.
Yeah. 5 kids shuttling back and forth between different households, different chores, different, like after school activities. That's a lot to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, honestly, kind of ideal for me. Like if I was to put myself in the position of one of the other kids, the ideal outcome would be still all living together, but mom and dad separated,
I can see that.
So that like everybody, can still live together so that there's not this constant like back and forth, because like that shit sucks as a kid. Like the back and forth, like, oh fuck, I left this at mom's house. Oh balls, I left this at dad's house, yada, yada, yada. But like seeing the parents be able to communicate through things, because like you said, they have a very open, channel of communication and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So like if they can go to therapy and like work on keeping that, despite the obviously very deeply hurt feelings that would come from a separation, like keeping things together for the kids.
Yeah.
Just as far as household wise, like they already seem to have like a decent like split as far as like, go do your own thing this night, go do your own thing this night, separate, whatever, while the kids are at school, etc. Because, it sucks to be the person who like is just throwing yourself at this person in a hope of keeping them.
Yes.
So like if they were to just remove that from the relationship and embrace, that they weren't compatible in that way, and like embrace co-parenting together.
Yeah, I give it to the wife in this situation.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, I think, he said that she kind of knew that they were on different paths and was willing to just call it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I personally think it's rarely a good idea to hang on to a relationship for the sake of the kids.
Yeah.
I think the longer you drag it out, the worse you make it for everyone involved, especially as resentment and all those negative feelings start to build up. Kids can feel that.
Yeah, because like, and with kids, when you're telling them, oh, mommy and daddy love each other so much, and then you have this tension and this frustration simmering in the background, kids start to equate that with love.
Mm-hmm.
That's what fucking happened. Like, that's why like my parents should have separated. Like, because I injured my perception of what love should be by watching them fake their way through a relationship for years for the sake of the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not doing them any favors there.
Mm-hmm. Like, and I get it though. Like, this poor guy, you know, this is the love of his life thus far. But at the same time, ending it sooner means you can move on a little bit sooner. Like, I'm not saying you're going to be over this tomorrow. I'm not saying you're going to be over this next year. But these 3 years that you've been trying to put your square peg in this round hole, you could have been working on healing and moving on.
You got to know when to hold them.
Yup.
Yeah. I mean, Willie said it, right? Know when to walk away, know when to run.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely one of those situations where, like, figuring out a pace in a different direction, you know? Like, they don't have to be walking right next to each other. They could be going in the same direction but on their own paths, you know? Like, if the goal location is their kids making it to adulthood safe and sound, they can focus on that while still walking their own paths and acting respectfully.
Absolutely. I've seen people do that. Have like a live-in co-parenting situation until the kids reach an age that they leave the house. You know, they do what they have to do to take care of things that way, and then everybody can go their separate ways.
Mm-hmm. I did have one set of friends who, like, their parents waited until they were, you know, like 15, 16, you know, so they were kind of off doing their own thing, starting to become their own person, and could, like, better empathize with their parents' like, journey and becoming their own people, because their parents had been together since, like, high school, you know? So, like, this kind of opportunity to show their kids that, like, you can grow and change and become all of this when they're in a place to be receptive of it, versus it being like the end all be all, this is the end of the world, everything's falling apart, I don't know how to handle it, you know, like.
Yeah. What an opportunity to model these behaviors for your kids, right?
Yeah.
They get older, they're going to have some of these experiences. And if they've seen their parents handle a breakup gracefully and with love and caring for each other, right? What a great example to set.
Fuck yes. Oh, that's good shit. But I don't know if that's what happens here. Let's get into this update.
Let's find out.
Oh, God. Okay, so the update says, I had a handful of requests for an update and a lot has happened. My wife left me on Tuesday.
Oh, no.
Based on all the advice I received here, I had another talk with my wife and poured my heart out to her about how I'm truly feeling in regards to the open relationship. Most of the things I said were things I've said before, but I made it that much clearer that I am having major issues with this, and they're not just minor annoyances. I told her I was not ready to call it quits on our marriage, though. After all, we've been together for 10 plus years. We have 5 kids together. I do love her so very much. The long story short, she refused to be open to discuss any compromises and also refused to go to counseling. A couple of days after this conversation, she told me she wanted out. She told me she hasn't been in love with me for a long time and that the only reason she was still with me is because swinging made it manageable for her to stay.
Ouch.
Gee, that's a big change there. Woof. All right, so she said a lot more. Some of the most hurtful stuff I've ever heard, but I think I expressed my point pretty clearly. I don't want to go into excruciating detail about this. But I know what some of you are saying. This is exactly what I needed. I needed out of the toxic relationship. And even though I know this is true, god damn it, it hurts. God, having spent all week crying and I went to counseling by myself, I know it's for the best. But I keep thinking about all the years we've been together, remembering the old times, remembering our first date, when I proposed, the birth of our first daughter. God damn it, this sucks. To top it all off, she tells me today, well, I'd still be interested in being play friends with you. You know, we can have some fun occasionally. Fuck no. But I'm rambling now, so I'll just wrap it up. I know in the end I'll be in a better place, but it's hard, and I just don't see how yet. I love following these threads. These people that, like, post these update threads are fucking heroes.
Yeah. I don't know that I could pour my heart out and my business on Reddit.
Oh, no. You couldn't, but you could do it in a podcast.
It's true. Here I am.
You know, like, I can definitely empathize because, like, posting on Reddit and stuff like that, it's like the catharsis, and it gives you more affirmation than, like, a journal entry, you know, because I'm always a big fan of writing in your journal.
Yeah.
But this gives you the whole, like, oh, no, I'm not being crazy right now. So guy says, toxic relationship. Yes, it's a toxic relationship for them. I think the wife isn't awful, except for when she refuses to go to counseling. Like,
Yeah.
I understand if you're done with the relationship, be done with the relationship. She should have been done a long time ago. If she's not even willing to consider counseling, I feel like she shouldn't have been staying, because that's just like, it's like, oh yeah, this wound's infected, but I kind of, ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So we're not really like picking sides here.
Or
But
not.
I mean, I kind of am. Cause like I'm on the wife's team,
Yeah.
honestly. From the very beginning, she was honest about her desires. She was honest about who she was, what she wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
And this guy was just grasping at straws, trying to do whatever he could to stay in this relationship. And from, she said she hadn't been in love with him for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So just imagine how long she's just hanging in there. I'm sure she was miserable, just like he was, even though it's easy, especially from his perspective, to paint her as a bit of a villain because she was the one who enjoyed swinging and had these other partners. Meanwhile, he's just hanging on, pining for her.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't see her as a villain.
Yeah. No.
I don't see, because it's not like she was running around cheating on him, having all these.
She wrote him a breakup letter when she was worried she was going to actually move on to cheating.
She tried to leave.
Yeah.
Let her go.
Let her go. Yeah. No, I feel you there, because like, when I first started into polyamory, I was also the person who wanted to be polyamorous, whereas my partner wanted to be monogamous. And it kind of sucks to be going out and being polyamorous and like having what you think you want, but having it tinged by this like discontent and this frustration coming from at home. You know, like as much as it's like, oh yeah, she was out living her life and having dates and fun and stuff like that though. But like, we don't know how much he was blowing up her phone to the point where she couldn't, do this. Or we don't know how much he would like sulk for days afterwards. Like, we don't know.
Oh, I'm sure it was bad.
Yeah, like we don't know the ways that her experience was made pretty negative by his intense, like, decision that they stay together. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I kind of wonder how that conversation went, like how much he was like, but the kids, the kids.
For sure. I mean, by the time he says, he poured his heart out, right? He also says everything he said, he had said before.
Yeah.
So I can just imagine how many times she came home from a date and he's just there being whiny and mopey and, oh, I hate this, and why don't you just stop? And
or how many times like the kids would ask something and he'd be like, oh, mommy has to go have fun with her other friends instead of coming and playing with us
God,
tonight.
I hope not.
Like that kind of shit. Like I've seen people do that, and like that's why I always get so fucking worried when like kids are in these situations, because sometimes when the parents are getting all this frustration and like they'll start to twist the kids, and I'm like, no, don't do it. Leave them out of it.
Yeah.
You're having your adult issues. Leave them out of it.
Yeah. And this guy absolutely feels like the victim here.
Yeah.
I needed to be out of this toxic relationship. Like, is it really all that toxic just because of her, though?
Yeah, no, it's toxic because you were choosing to stay somewhere where you were deeply uncomfortable and unhappy while hoping that the person that you claim to love as a person and as who she is would deeply and fundamentally change.
Yeah, you can't change people. Sorry.
You can't be in a relationship while hoping that someone is someone else. Like you're not in a relationship with them. You're in a relationship with like the idealized version of them that you've created. And that's
Right.
fucky for both of y'all.
Right.
That's got to hurt for both of y'all. Okay, so I'm curious though. So tell us some of your rules that weren't on this list, and I'll tell you some of mine.
Okay, so I told you the one, right, where you were on like recall 24/7.
Yep.
You always had to be available. Veto power was definitely a thing.
Yep.
My ex-wife definitely used that one. Told me that, oh, you can't talk to this person anymore. Let me see. It's been so long since I actually thought of.
Okay, here's some of mine while you're thinking about yours, okay? I had one that always made me feel deeply icky, but it was my partner at the time required that anyone I dated would be open to a threesome in the future.
Oh my.
Not that, you know, we had to date and stuff like that, just that they had to potentially be around to fuck or such. Or at minimum, their minimum requirement was being allowed to jerk off while we're doing the thing.
Oh my.
You know, so there was that rule. There was also the rule that we couldn't go on a date anywhere in the town that we lived in.
Oh.
That one didn't last very long. Like, I tried to keep it, you know, because they were like, well, I don't want, like, our friends to start thinking that, like, you're free agent and whatnot, like, that kind of thing. They were like, I don't want our friends to know that you are available. I'm like, that's a weird way to think about it, but okie dokie artichoke. Because, like, we were telling everyone that we were polyamorous and stuff like that. Well, I mean, at least I was. I don't know if he was on the background, but, like, you know, some, like, weird-ass rules like that I agreed to at the time because I was just like, I cannot, if I tried my hardest, keep myself from developing feelings for people at random, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it just fucking happens.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do anybody a disservice by A, denying it, or B, indulging it secretly.
Mm-hmm. So that actually was one of our rules. Somehow we made a rule that you weren't allowed to catch feelings. You know, it was anything you did with anybody else was just like play fun time.
Yeah. Yep.
There was no
You
love.
have to come back to the serious
anything
relationship
close
at the
to
end of
love.
the day.
Yeah. Like this at home, our marriage is the only quote unquote relationship you're maintaining. Everything else is just fun.
Yep. And I guess I didn't say this at the beginning, but like for those still here, the kind of theme that I wanted to go for this episode is you don't really know what you want until you don't got it. You know, like you go through a lot of changes in polyamory, and a lot of people put a lot of desire to hide their less ethical times in polyamory and in their journey. But everybody goes through that. Everybody makes bad decisions. It's about being willing to face those decisions that you make at a time and acknowledge that they're not right for you or the person that they're, you know, around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just hard, but it's such a good step in this whole non-monogamy journey. Acknowledging when you don't have what you want and being willing to change it. You know, like life is fucking scary, especially when we're making big changes to it.
But honestly, this is so much more widely applicable in life than just relationships.
Oh, yeah.
You know, jobs, anything.
Jobs.
Ugh.
If I could break up with jobs easier, I would. I swear I can end a romantic relationship so much easier than a job.
This is true.
All right, so you got anything else to say about this one before I move us on to the next one?
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, this one says, and this is getting back to our r/polyamory subreddit, navigating shifting dynamics with a secondary meta relationship. One of my partners recently asked to take a step back to reassess and focus on the foundational aspects of our relationship. I'll call them my secondary just for clarity. You know. I hope that we can work through this rough patch together and come out stronger on the other side, but my anxieties are telling me that my secondary partner is not going to put in the effort to solve or identify the issues that initiated their feelings of needing to step back to begin with. Woof.
Okay.
There's layers to this. It's an onion. This is an onion of a problem. All right, so both of us have anchor partners and are treating this as a secondary relationship. I'm afraid that our ideas of how we want to approach this relationship are too different to overcome. They are more avoidant attachment, and I am admittedly more anxious attachment. This has created some tension around the amount of reassurance and effort being put into the relationship and where our escalators align, if at all.
The layers
continue. Like literally, like there's a lot of self-awareness that I can appreciate in this, you know, and that's just hard. All right, so all of this is pretty standard for figuring out how you want to navigate different relationships. However, it starts to get complicated when you add in the fact that my anchor partner is independently dating this person as well. Oh, so while me and my secondary are taking a break in the hopes of working through our relationship issues, my anchor partner is actively still seeing them and doing everything that two people in a relationship do. You know, going on dates, having the bibbidi-bobbidi, timey-wimey fun times. I don't know why I try to censor sex. We say way worse all the time, but my brain was like, we fuck, being intimate. So I think it's kind of interesting that they like have separately having sex and being intimate. I love that kind of delineation, if that makes any sense.
They're not the same thing.
They're not. And I love that. As much as it is kind of like a oof, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Lots of overlap, but different.
I want to support my anchor partner in developing meaningful relationships outside of our relationship, but hearing the details of how my anchor partner and my secondary partner have continued to develop a relationship while I'm not experiencing that from my secondary is very hurtful. I, of course, want to know what's going on in my anchor partner's life, and I want to show them support and compersion, but it seems to be coming at the cost of my own mental health. I don't want to hear how my secondary planned a date when they would never plan a date with me, or how they had sex 3 times this week when my secondary would hardly ever engage in sex with me, or how they're carving out one-on-one time when I only got to see my secondary in group settings. I know all of the poly resources say not to compare relationships. But it's very hard to see my secondary show up for my anchor partner in ways that they never showed up for me, even after I asked them to do so. This dynamic's creating strain on me and my anchor partner's relationship, and it's creating resentment for me and my secondary. I'm not sure how to move forward in either situation.
Oh, man.
This is when I'm saying, like, polyamory gets so fucking messy. Like, by some people's definitions, this would be like a throuple, or whatever. But it's so much more. Like, I love that they have the nuance of, like, they're independently dating the anchor partner.
And it seems like they don't have the element of dating this other partner together.
Yes. Like, they not once mentioned, like, they go out on dates together, or, anything like that. Like, that's one of those things where I'm like, this would be a green flag if I were viewing it from the outside. Like, if someone were telling me about their relationship dynamics and they're like, oh, me and my partner independently see this other person, blah, 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 like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's good shit.
I can get behind that.
I feel like these people are, like, on level 8 polyamory, so of course they're having level 8 polyamory issues.
Yeah.
Okay, starting from the top here. It sucks ass when our partners are seeing the same person as us, but they're having a completely different relationship than us in ways that, like, we want,
Yes.
Because, like, it's kind of comforting when you're dating the same person and y'all are both kind of having the same issues, the same kind of experience. Like, as much as it does kind of suck to feel like it's like, oh, this is all in the background, everything's the same, yada, yada. It's affirming.
Right. It's not just me.
Right. So knowing that you want this from your partner and them not being able to show up for you in that way, but then showing up in that way for someone that you're so close with, like, it's hard to see it when it's like a meta you don't even know, but your anchor partner?
Yes.
That shit's hard.
Yeah. I think this is one of the unique opportunities that polyamory presents. Because when you're monogamous, you don't really get to see your partner with other people, especially not at the same time, especially not another person that you're also with. So this is definitely high-level poly problems.
Yeah. Because, okay, so OP... an anchor partner, and Metamour / secondary. It seems like the Metamour / secondary has their own anchor partner?
Yes.
Okay. So that's cool and interesting too, because, like, it does show that, like, so, Metamour in this situation, Metamour / secondary. I want to give these people names. Okay, so OP we're going to say is Joe. Right? Metamour / secondary, we're going to say is Jewel. It's
confusing
Jewel.
Already.
Yeah. And then the anchor partner / other partner is going to be Jill.
Yes.
All right?
Not confusing at all.
Joe and Jill live together.
Yes.
Jewel is dating Joe and Jill and has their own partner.
Yes. Jack.
Yeah. So OP, Joe, is able to see Jill have this, serious relationship or whatever with Jack and with Jill fucking... I made it worse. I needed...
Good
this
job.
Is worse. Anyway,
that didn't
like,
take long.
It's fucking wild. Because I feel like with polyamory, it's almost okay for people to develop a crush on someone as the person that they see in a relationship with someone else.
Yes.
You know, because like we're all ourselves, and then we're also like a slightly altered version of ourselves with this partner or with that partner.
Yes.
So like developing feelings for the person as you see them with other people.
Mm-hmm. That's totally a thing.
Because like you're seeing Jewel over here managing this whole ass relationship in a way that you want to, and you see who they are in this relationship.
Yes.
And that's the person you want to be dating, but that's not who they are in the relationship with you.
Right.
I finally got there. I finally got to my point.
We made it. So this whole thing makes me think of a couple of kind of cliched phrases, right? One of them is, if he wanted to, he would.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Pronouns aside, if Jewel wanted to do these things with Joe, they would.
Mm-hmm.
Jewel wants to do them with Jill, so they do.
Yep.
You just have to accept that.
Yeah. And that's hard to see and hard to accept, like, regardless. Fuck, you know, like, even if you were just seeing your partner be that way with, like, your Metamour that wasn't your anchor partner, it can be hard.
Right.
And this is one of those times where I'm like, yes, they've agreed on being secondaries, but have they agreed on what a secondary means to them?
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Because, like, you can agree on terms all day long, but what if you're reading out of different dictionaries?
Yeah. It sounds to me like OP, Joe, wants this secondary relationship to be a bit more significant than Jewel does.
Yeah.
Right? The secondary partner that Joe is referencing. It seems like OP wants it to be something bigger.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know, this secondary partner really wants it to be like secondary. You're extra. You're the icing.
At this
on
point,
the
maybe
cake.
even tertiary.
Right, because there is another anchor partner over there.
Yeah. Like, it's weird and fascinating, like, to see the way that people are different in these different relationships. And, oh, God. So, like, watching your partner develop these relationships in ways that, you know, make you feel icky and like, ah, fuck, I'm losing out. It's also really hard to be in Jewel's position where you realize that you want to deepen a connection with one person, but because of the connections that person has,
Yeah.
you have to be so strategic about it. Because, like, as you know, you say you're dating, you know, Jill and Joe, and you realize, oh my gosh, the relationship with Jill just clicks so much better. I want to put more energy into that, but I only have so much energy to give. You then have to put yourself in the position of, like, de-escalating with Joe so you can put more
Yes.
energy into the relationship that fulfills you more. And, like, having those conversations and not hurting everybody's feelings to the point where you're like, well, let's just break up instead, you know, kind of things.
Yeah.
Like, it's level 8 polyamory.
Yeah. Especially when, and I don't know if they said this, but in the circumstance where, like, maybe Jewel and Joe met first, and Jewel and Jill met as a result of their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's the one that actually sticks
Yep.
extra hard.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the other thing I see here that's not a huge part of this story, but OP talks about, you know, wanting to support their anchor partner in the relationship and how they enjoy hearing about these other relationships. Sometimes you don't need all the details.
Yeah. You can have different layers of compersion with different people.
Right. So, you know, if knowing the details of this other relationship is hurtful for you, maybe you should know less.
Yeah. It may have been one of those things where, like, Joe and Jill up until this point, like, love sharing all the dirty details about their other, you know, encounters.
As people do.
As people do. And, you know, they were getting approval from their other partners to share all the dirty details, as you do.
You better.
And then at any point, Joe can say, hey, actually, I'd prefer not to hear about this relationship. Keep all of the other parameters the same, but this relationship in particular is not the greatest for my mental health to hear about.
Yes.
And saying that is power.
Advocate
Accepting that
for
is power.
yourself.
Yes. Because it's okay to know that, like, you're not as healed as you want to be in different aspects, you know? Or that certain things, you know, are just touching on different traumas and triggers and whatnot. Like, every single relationship is different. So every single meta relationship is going to be different.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be all that traumatic.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know. It's uncomfortable for me for whatever reason, and I would rather not know the details.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If I can be shitty for a moment, there's this one person that one of my partners used to date that really just annoyed the piss out of me. So anytime they'd try to like tell me these stories, I feel myself getting into that annoyed, like just, mindset. And like, yes, I need to work on that on my own. But in the meantime, it's probably better for me not to continue to build that resentment on accident by encouraging this thing that is causing this negative reaction to myself.
Absolutely. And I know this isn't the case here, but I think you're totally allowed to just say, you know what? I don't like that guy.
Yeah, it's like,
period.
Hey, I love you. I trust you to be choosing people that you like and that are good for you, but I don't get along well with them, and I would like some space created.
Yep.
And that's okay. That's better for you and everyone fucking involved than trying to shove yourself into being goody-goody with someone who just annoys you.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be that they're shitty. It doesn't have to be that they're a bad person. Sometimes people are too like me and I don't like them. Sometimes people are like making jokes and whatnot. I'm like, damn, I wanted to make that joke. I don't want to hang out with them. I don't feel like I have any original jokes around this
They're
bitch.
stealing your thunder.
They're stealing my thunder by thunder. Oh, God. Okay. So, before we go and take a break to eat some macaroni and cheese,
yes,
T is going to read a story for us.
All right. So the title on this one, I'm new and need advice. Okay. So me, M21, and my fiance, F20, are talking about having a poly relationship with our close friend, M21. She's been in a midterm poly relationship 2 years. Okay, what is a midterm poly relationship? Can we talk about? Is he just talking about the length of time?
Yeah, not long term, not short term.
Oh, okay. I don't like it. Anyway.
But that's just their way of saying 2 years. That's not a long term relationship.
Got it. She's been in this midterm poly relationship before and knows people that had similar doubts and worries, but ended up enjoying the lifestyle and have continued long-term relationships. She and our friend had a relationship in the past and are now friends, but he's realized that he still loves her. He has had a similar relationship before, and they talked about it briefly before bringing the idea to me.
Okay, pause though, because he realized he still loves her. It almost feels like mildly like villainizing this guy. Like she, of course, does she still have feelings for him too? Like,
no, it was all him.
You know what I mean? Like, no, it's all him. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. That wording struck me. Anyway,
I see that. Okay, so she has talked about boundaries they want to put in place to help me ease into it, and she's made sure that I know I am her first priority and is willing to end it if I'm not comfortable with it. He is also willing to respect my decision and just continue being friends with us if I decide not to. However, I'm a bit anxious about it because I've never done anything like it, and I don't want to accidentally make things weird between us and lose them both. I tend to overthink a lot of things, even to the smallest detail, and don't want to end up getting jealous and ruining it because I didn't communicate. I want to give it a try, but I need more information. I have done some research already, and my fiance has explained it to me as well, but I just keep finding myself getting anxious, but I do want to try. I just want more advice from people who have done it before.
Okay. First fucking question, though. She's 20, and she had a 2-year relationship being, like, poly or whatever. Was she like, what, 16? Was this like a high school poly relationship? Like, what?
Had to be.
How long have they been together? I got some questions about the timeline because
they're 20 and 21 and engaged to be married.
Fuck. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna be real. Polyamory and stuff like that is actually way fucking easier in like high school, middle school, shit like that. You got less life going on.
True.
Like, you get to hold hands between English and math class or whatever with Billy, but then you get to hold hands between math class and gym with Erica. Like,
yeah.
And you don't have, like, kids to worry about. You don't have jobs. I mean, you might have some job to worry about, but not like, this is my livelihood or I'm going to fucking be homeless.
Right.
Most kids. There's kids. But anyway. So, like, her having some experience with polyamory in the past, I feel doesn't have very much weight because they are so young.
I agree with that.
For all intents and purposes, they should be treating this as they are all new to polyamory.
Yeah. Except for the fact that because they have that experience, they're comfortable even introducing the idea.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think most people at 20 and 21 years old would be that comfortable bringing that into the conversation.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I do feel like a lot of people tend to wait until later. Like, I feel like people either try it really young and kind of keep it throughout their life, or they end up trying it pretty late in their life. I was like 23, 24 when I started polyamory the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, I had done polyamory. I had been doing less ethically non-monogamy, throughout all of high school. So I can see that.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah. The thing that strikes me with this story is the fiance and the ex-boyfriend / now friend kind of built this whole thing up off on the side.
Yes.
And then came with a presentation.
Did they make a PowerPoint?
I bet they did.
I'm so glad
like a
you
multi-level
mentioned that.
marketing scheme. Let us tell you how polyamory is beneficial to you.
Yeah, the fact that they came with boundaries to help him ease into it.
They typed it out, So that honestly raises questions for me. It's just what is their relationship actually like?
Yeah.
I know they said in part of their boundaries that if he's not comfortable with it, they'll just go back to being friends. That, to me, in the subtext is they'll go back to being friends who sleep around behind your back.
Yeah, or
That's
friends who are
hearing.
Emotionally cheating,
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's definitely already that.
Because have they been respecting it to begin with?
I doubt it.
Yeah. So the way that I picked up earlier on him saying, because he still has feelings for her, it feels very like something's being hidden, something's being misconstrued, or
Right.
Yeah.
It's they already slept together.
Or something.
And now it's okay, let's find a way to make this okay. We'll call it polyamory and we'll include him.
Yeah, because then, he also says, talking about being in a poly relationship with M21, is he thinking they're about to be in a triad, or what exactly is he thinking that's going to happen?
Yeah,
here,
that's the other thing, right? Is what is OP's relationship to this ex-boyfriend? Because it says they're all friends.
Yeah.
It says our close friend, right? So, would they actually consider that kind of situation?
I want more backstory.
Yeah, we need more info here.
I want to know if OP's, partner and this other guy dated for a while and they were all friends when those two were dating, and they stayed friends while these two were dating, so maybe they have a history of being able to endure friendship after breakups, because that would be a good sign. But
pretty sure it's the plot of some movie.
I'm sure, but it feels like a situation where people aren't exactly being honest, but they're choosing the option they feel is most honest.
Yeah. I mean, this is the people you see who it's okay, my wife won't stop cheating on me, so we'll just open the relationship and make it okay.
Yeah.
Right? Except he doesn't know she's cheating yet.
Yeah. Oh,
I need an update.
I literally just went to the profile to be have they posted anything else? They posted this exact same post in 5 different places.
Of course.
So they really, I feel like they might need to be listening to their gut, because I feel like their gut's trying to tell them something here.
Yeah.
I feel like they know something isn't quite right about the way that this is going and getting set up.
Yeah.
And they're wanting other people to affirm that.
This seems like another situation where OP really wants to hang on to this relationship, right? They're engaged. This is his fiance. So obviously they have strong feelings, and he probably doesn't want to let that go. I also feel like he might be getting played.
Yeah, she's already mentally checked out of the relationship, but doesn't want to fully check out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
She wants to test this thing that she had with this other guy before letting go of the thing that she has and knows is stable.
Yeah, she knows that dick was good.
She knows that dick was good. She wants to see if the brain matured along with it.
Yeah. you know. And if she gets to keep the new dick and still have the old dick again, she's winning.
Yeah. It feels like a situation where they should honestly like kind of all take a step back, explore polyamory independently for a while, figure themselves out for a while, and then like maybe come back. Like I know that's really fucking terrifying when you're 20 and 21, but stay in contact with these people, stay friends with them in this time, you know, like casually date, hook up, whatever. Don't marry. Don't put that intense ass pressure on things right now.
Yeah.
You know, like take a little while, figure your life out, figure out what makes you happy. And if you grow into a person that is still very happy with this person, y'all are both going to be much better for it.
Yeah.
Like if y'all think that y'all want polyamory to be part of your long-term, etc. future, like OP does seem very interested in trying it. So I would tell OP like, hey, put the wedding on hold, try polyamory for a bit, like in earnest, you know?
Right. See how that works.
And how OP's partner acts, you know, like because you never know, like once you open this door, OP's partner might turn into one of those people that ends up with like 9 different partners and, you know, not enough time to get married.
Yeah. You know, as a person who got married at 22, my general advice in that regard is just don't wait. just wait.
Don't wait. There's periods in there. Don't wait. Don't
wait. Those are separate things.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to say about this one before we go eat some mac and cheese?
I want an update.
Yeah, I want an update. OP, if you're out there, hey, let us know how it's going. If you want to come on sometime and just chat with me about polyamory,
I'll be here too.
Yes. Okay, let's go get some fucking mac and cheese.
Let's go.
Shit. Okay, I'm going to wrap us up, but T, tell people where to find you if they want to see more of your work.
Oh, if you want to see my work would be photography. I don't really have much else for people to go find.
It's good shit, though.
Probably the best place to find it would be on Instagram. My handle is Octophoto, spelled with an F, not a PH. And yeah, give me a follow.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Great art, great photos.
Oh, thank you.
You're really good at getting people to like be genuine in their emotion, like that set you recently did for that one super cute couple that we know. So good.
I love it.
It's so good. There's all the good feels in it.
Hey, bonus people, if you go find me on Instagram, you will get to see photos of your host. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm on there too. Yes, so my lovely folks, we hope to see you again soon. Come on, join us on the next episode, or just come. Either way, it's going to be a great time.
Love the haters.
Hey, even if you're hate watching, you know, you're still watching, listening, whatever, hate listening. Make sure to follow us on various social medias at Metamour Pod. Post your stories to our subreddit by the same name. Oh, we forgot to do the B-roll segment for us, but did you have a survival tip maybe for polyamory that you wanted to touch on? You want me to give one while you're thinking?
Yeah.
From the stories that we read today, my survival tip for polyamory is going to be that the conversations only get more uncomfortable as time goes on, so have them. Have them now. Have them ASAP.
Yes, indeed. My survival tip is very similar. Over communicating is way better than under communicating.
Yep.
So just do it. Talk about it.
And if they don't like the over communication, they can get out of here.
Bye.
Anyway. All right. So yeah. Information. Yeah. Email us. Metamourpod, gmail.com. Social medias. Metamourpod. Metamour Than You Bargained For is a production of Roll to Finish LLC. I have been your host, Lyn Lawless, and our producer, editor, and all-around badass was Sloane Abbott. We got a audio engineer, Fernandez, and that's all the stuff that I have to say legally. Get out of here. Bye.